Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this H-Day Upskills this morning with the lovely Jo Martin. What a joy to see you today, Jo.
Thank you, Jane. Yeah, it's great to see you. Yeah, and great to have a conversation with you this morning.
I know.
Looking forward to it.
It feels like I've not seen you for ages. Well, none of us have seen anyone for ages, have we? So this morning we're going to be sharing some ideas around brand MOTs and giving people some practical advice and help and tips that they can use right now and then in lockdown and then as we come out of the lockdown. But first, because I'm interested in this, because I know you more recently from all the fantastic work you've done with the fellowship as chairman, and also the brands that you've been involved with. But prior to that, you were a salon owner, hairdresser and a salon owner. So can you give us a little bit of background about how it all started for you, your journey in hair?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I always wanted to be a hairdresser. When I was at school, I was always doing all my friends' hair, my brother's hair, colouring their at home. Didn't have a clue, but taught myself. So as soon as I left school, I went and got an apprenticeship, and I absolutely loved it and fell in love with the whole industry. And throughout my hairdressing journey, I didn't necessarily want to have my own salon. I always wanted to be in education because I loved I spent a lot of time because I'm up in Manchester, and I used to spend a lot of time in the Manchester Weller studios, and I loved it. And every time I used to go, I used to see all the educators there training and giving knowledge, and I absolutely loved it. And that was my vision. That's what I wanted to do. But then I did actually have a salon for about 5 years, and I absolutely loved it. And I think that was part of my stepping stone for my journey. And then I decided to, pursue my dreams and be an educator. And I went to work for Schwarzkopf Professional, which I absolutely loved my time. And it gave me so many opportunities to share my knowledge as a hairdresser and as a colourist.
So you were technical for Schwarzkopf?
I was a technical consultant because I loved colour. That was my passion when I was in the salon. I loved colour. And and it was great to go into salons and share my knowledge of colour and of the brand. And I loved that journey as well. Excuse me. But then it was like, what's next? Because I'm always kind of looking at what I can do to upskill myself as well, and what can I do more. And at the time, through a really good friend of mine, there was a new brand that came to the market, and I had a conversation with her, and she was like, we'd love to get a hairdresser on board because we haven't got a hairdresser currently working for us. And that brand was GHD. And so that was in the very early days when they were just in a very small building in a village called Ilkley, just outside of Leeds. And at the time, I was just working with the UK market. And within 6 weeks of working for the business, I had the opportunity to join the global team and be part of the global journey of GHD. So that's where it all started with me. And I was with GHD for 11 and a half years. And it was that was the biggest growth of the business to, worldwide.
Kind of meteoric, wasn't it? I mean,
it was huge. And the opportunities that I did and the places that I worked, I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that I was doing, a tour with Katy Perry in Australia, working in LA as well on product launches. It just, it was brilliant. And that was just one of those most memorable parts of my career. But then things changed. And the next big step that I did was to open my own consultancy business. And I've had that, I've had my business now for coming up to 5 years. And that's kind of opened up huge opportunities for me internationally as well. I've worked with a brand called Hot Tools and bringing the brand, which was an established US brand, across the European markets. I've worked with Babyliss Pro, and I've worked with some smaller brands as well, helping them with their journey. And I'm just working on a big project with another international brand at the moment. So it's kind of watch this space for the next sort of 6 to 12 months. So my career is spanned across from being, a stylist, a salon owner, an educator, managing a global education team, and then obviously working on lots of brand campaigns, and now I want to obviously share some of that knowledge with some of the salon owners out there and individual freelancers really, to help them with their brand. You know, we're in lots of challenging times, and we need all those little pointers that we can do, we can have, and we can do, you know, at home at the moment to get ourselves ready for when we're coming back.
Yeah, and we shouldn't forget, you have been chairman of the fellowship, and you were a fantastic chairman because you have a very inclusive way of working with a big group of individuals. So it's important, and I think even in the brand thing is taking people with you on the journey, isn't it? And I think you have a great skill at doing that, and made some great changes at the fellowship, including the knowledge. So, you know, that's your project. So
it has, and it's been such a lifeline this last 12 months, because it was straight away back in March last year where we were able to switch on and go straight online and do some great, you know, connecting activities, live activities for, you know, all the community, and not just for fellowship members, for the whole industry as well, you know, worldwide.
Absolutely. So let's talk about branding, because that's what we want to kind of focus on today. Kind of, it's almost the where to start, isn't it? Because when you and I started out, it was in some ways it was easier because you didn't have social media and online, but actually social media and online now gives you such a great, is an asset when it's used properly for a brand. So where would you start for the people watching, you know, that thinking, what can I do better, different, more?
I think you've got to think of it. I think about a brand MOT as such is very much like, you think about your car as well. You know, your car has an annual service. It focuses on all the different elements about running and the safety of your car. And I think you've got to look at your business in that way, looking at all the different elements of the running of your business on a day-to-day basis, from your salon team, your messages, your communication, which is massively key, and who you're communicating with, and also are you making sure that you're sharing what your uniqueness is about of you as a salon business.
So where would you advise people to start? Kind of what's the start point?
I think for me, I was thinking about this, you know, to share some kind of key pointers with salon owners. So for me, I would look at 4 key areas as a starting point. So what does your brand look like visually? So what does your logo, what are your fonts, what do your imagery look like, and what are your messages there? We can delve deeper into all of these different ones. So then looking at what's unique about you and your business, what's your USP, as we call it, and then how do your products and services, you know, that you provide in your salon business reflect your brand's identity? And then how effective is your communication, and how are you communicating out there, and what more can you be doing?
Right.
And I think that even those 4 different key areas, that can be quite daunting and quite like, I don't know where to start. But if you make a list, you know, I'm very much, people who know me, and they'll completely laugh at me. People, if they are listening to this, they'll absolutely chuckle, because I am very much a list person, and I make a list, and then I enjoy ticking things off that list. So that
you write things on the list so you can tick them off when you've done them, so you feel between something. Yeah, we all do that.
And even some days I'll even highlight, so I'm like, yes, I've done that. I know, but you know, they're those little things that you know, which are a little bit different about us as well. But I like to, like, that gives me a framework to be organized as well. And I think pen to paper, we don't, you know, we spend so much time on our laptops, on our tablets, on our phones. Sometimes I tend to, if I'm doing something like even writing a presentation, I tend to kind of put those things away and get back to the old-fashioned pen and paper for me as well.
Literally map it out.
Yeah, because I like to have, like, you know, whether it's a book that I work as a jotter and write all my notes in, or even, you know, scraps of paper that I'll start writing Post-it notes and, you know, put them all out there. And I think this is probably a really good way to start. And actually, if you can engage your team in doing this as an exercise, it's really, really good. So you can do it remotely. You don't have to all be in the same room. You could choose some of your key senior team members to help you with this branding exercise as well for you. So don't worry, you don't have to answer all the details in great detail, but little things that you can do from those 4 key areas can help make some valid changes or improvements to your business.
So to your first point then, which was kind of the brand, is the visual, isn't it? The kind of visual identity of the brand.
Yeah.
Where would you advise people to start? I mean, for me, and this might not be right at all, but it's your logo and your visual representation should represent your brand promise.
It should, yeah. And everything about you and your brand and your vision, your goals. Really, before you even start that, you need to have like your business and your business strategy, and that could be like, that's quite a frightening word for somebody sometimes, because they go, I haven't got one. I haven't got a business strategy. Where do I start? A lot of salons don't, and it's not, it's not a negative at all, but it's a really good point, and this probably is one I would say put on as a little action point to start with, even first, to think about, what's important to you and your business, and think about your goals and what is unique about you as a business, and how do you want to promote yourself, and just having a little short plan. That's the start. That's your business strategy. It doesn't have to be all whistles and bells. It just can be really something that you have a plan of action to then start to make, your journey.
And do you think often salon owners think they probably haven't got it, but they have, it's just in their head. They haven't necessarily articulated or written it down or put it in kind of a formal structure. They have absolutely got it, but
everybody knows it. Yeah, everybody will know. Because if you say to them, what, where do you see your business? What are your goals? And they'll talk about it really openly. But again, as a salon owner, that's probably a stylist that's working in the salon, full time anyway. They don't sit down and work as if like you and I do, if we're sitting in the office and we're having meetings. It's very different. So something like, making a plan, it'd be like, I don't know how to do that. But, just give yourself, just short little steps to do. Don't try and tackle it all at once, because that's where it can be really overwhelming. So first of all, I'd say, put yourself a little plan together first, or what's in your head, write it down so it's there, and have it, if you're in your office, at home, or even in the salon, put it up on a pin board or on a whiteboard as well, so that you can keep looking back to it and maybe add to it as well.
And at which point would you share that with the team, with the wider team?
I think once you've got a clear, identity, and you're really clear in what your focus is and your goals are of your business, then share it with the team immediately. They need to be part of it. They need to be really part of it from the very beginning, and engaging them at the beginning will make them feel a part of your business and your journey as well. And then, all the decisions that you make, obviously you make your business decisions, which you don't have to involve with the team with, but certainly about branding and about messaging and about communication, the team can add to things that can bring so much more as well, that you might not have even thought of yourself. So I would say involve the team, and involve as many of the team members you can. It depends on the size of your salon, but involve as many, even the young apprentices. They're so tech savvy, and they can help as well with things if you're not as well. Definitely.
You're getting lots of love, Jo. Tony from London Howard. Jo was a customer of mine when she had her first salon. Love seeing how far she has come within our great industry.
Thank you.
And there's a question here from Kelly Russell. Did you find it hard coming away from the chair and actually doing hairdressing?
Did I say that again?
Did you find it hard coming away from actually being in the salon and doing clients?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, it was. And it's a very different transition. And everybody that I've trained as well, that's been a hairdresser, that's come into that education world, it takes time, because you do approach it with a different mindset, and it's very different. And I loved being in the chair, and I loved my clients and coming in every day, and you knew what you were doing as a plan, but it's very, very different. And it takes, I would say, it always used to take about 6 months as a transition to go from being a hairdresser in a salon to being like a full-time educator as well, because you have to be more organized and more planned as well, because it was down to you as an individual. So lots of different new skills that you had to learn as well.
No, cool. Sorry, we digress. So going back to the visual identity then, what's your advice on how people can make that visual identity and the kind of their brand live through that logo and promise?
I think you've got to look at everything as a whole. So your logo, the style of your fonts, if you've got any brand colours, if it's a colour palette that you have, your imagery and your messaging and your tone of voice as well that you have across all of the different platforms. So whether it's, whether your social media, your website, your literature that sits in the salon, your, advertising that goes out there, whether it's in print as well, all of that, when you look at it in its entirety, it's got to feel as though it's coming from the same family. Yeah. As such. And I think that's a really good starting point, because if it's not consistent and the imagery or the messaging is inconsistent, it doesn't feel as if it's in the right place. So it's a good part to even have some tear sheets and put them out on your dining room table and see, but also ask people as well, because sometimes you're in it too much and you don't see, it's really important that's why it's really good to engage in the team, but also people outside of the business, whether it's your friends, your family, other colleagues in the industry, and also your clients as well. Involve your clients, because they're a big part of your business as well, and they're the people that champion you when they're not in the salon on in their day-to-day.
And it's also critical, I think, at that point to get the detail right down to those typefaces, because I'm obsessive that we all use the same typeface across our emails, across our, whether it's an email from me to you that's just a "Hi Joe, confirming 10 o'clock tomorrow, see you on Zoom" kind of thing, or a corporate email that's going out. All of that has to be maintained to whoever is sending it out. I think whoever is sending it out, wherever it's coming from, to give it a real kind of cohesive feel.
It does, 100%, and it's important. That's it, because every touch point that you have from either your team, whether they're communicating or emailing or advertising, everything has got to be. Yeah, I'm the same as you, Jane. I like everything. I'm a bit sort of like particular about that. I love it. Everything's got to be so precise. The size of the fonts and everything is just.
I will hands up admit I probably drive everybody mad because I am massively obsessive about it. But it's important to me that the brand is represented, or our brands are represented in the right way.
I know. So, yeah, and it is definitely. And I think, but you don't sometimes, because you're busy as well. You're busy in the salon. You're thinking about other things. Now is the time to take that step back. We've got time. We're still, busy on a daily basis, even though we're not in the salon every day, but we're still, I'm sure, all my friends that I speak to that have got salons, they're still really manically busy, but it's time to kind of a little bit take a step back and reflect and look at the business and analyze those things that you don't necessarily look at the detail, analyze those detail pieces now.
And you talked about your USP, so your unique selling point, and to a certain extent, do you feel that ties into your brand promise?
Oh, yes. All of these things tie in together, but it's kind of like, if you're trying to tackle it in one whole sweep, then that's where sometimes you get a little bit lost with it. So that's why I thought about just putting it into 4 different key areas. So you're looking at your identity first and your messages, then looking into like your USP, what's unique to you, and that can be divided into several points as well. So what's the salon's unique selling point? What's the specialists of you and your team really as well? And what makes your salon different to another salon in the same town, and why should people choose you over another one as well? So there are different things in what's unique about it. It's just not, well, we're the only salon in our town and we focus on colour. Well, that could be one thing, but you need to delve a little bit deeper in there as well. So, and also what's really key is, you might know all of those things, but your team might not. And does anyone? Because I've worked with many brands that they keep this inwardly. They say, "Oh yeah, we do this, we do this, we do." But I don't know that. And I've known you as a brand. I didn't realize that you did all of these fantastic things, and these were your core values as well. So. Share the story, create a story. Everybody loves a story. Everyone loves a story, and they can connect with the story as well. So share your story, share it ultimately first with your team, so that they know, and they know how to communicate that message out as well. And also they'll be part of it, because they'll be part of what's unique to you and your salon business. Obviously share it with your clients as well, because your clients are part of that massive journey as well. Your clients are so important to you, and some real pointers that can help you communicate that out as well was, great customer feedback is essential, and it's free as well. And we don't necessarily do that enough. Some people do, and some people are doing it really, really well. But, if you don't already have, some great, feedback or testimonials from your clients, make a start now. Keep all of those lovely comments that are coming in on Facebook and on Instagram as well when you're doing your posts. Get your clients involved, because your clients are your advocates as well, aren't they? They're the ones that are going to be championing you and sharing, even on social media, sharing your posts as well. So I'd say customer feedback, and also I think keeping with the clients as well, you could also do a case study on a client as well. And because that could be showcasing your salon, what your specialist areas are as well. And how you as a salon or as a team have truly sort of benefited your clients' experience of being in the salon as well. So there are some really good things that I know that happen every day. You see them.
Don't tell people.
And you possibly don't realize that actually you could make something more from it, and help that to build your reputation and build your strength of your identity in your salon as well. So the things that happen but around you, but sometimes you don't actually tune into them to actually
because they happen automatically almost. Do you also think, Jo, would you include kind of community at that point? Because obviously a lot, I would say my thing is salons are the heartbeat. So for those that have got bricks and mortar, salons are often the heartbeat of their high street, and they're the community, and actually do an awful lot in the community that isn't necessarily hairdressing. So there's nothing wrong with talking about that.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I think they're great, like the community forums, and, they're so supportive as well. I know just recently in my local town as well, we had the huge floods, the river burst its bank, and, how the community, you can see on the community Facebook, how people were supporting each other. And obviously people are open at the moment, but there's people, giving support and guidance. And I think definitely on our industry forums as well. Absolutely. That's so good. They are so brilliant. I would hope that that's something that continues when we come out of lockdown as well, because they have been people's lifelines, and I think they're brilliant as well. I've not got a salon, but I look at people's comments and how people are supporting each other. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think we have a brilliant industry that we're in.
We should be proud of it. And for me, probably the only positive of lockdown is that community, the way that the industry has pulled together as a community, and that should be the legacy we all take forward, because it's a very positive. It's a very positive thing.
Because not many businesses, not many services, that do this and support each other. Because they always feel each other as in competition. But hairdressing, I think we've always had that, but even more so now. It's more supportive.
Absolutely. We're getting lots of questions, but I want you to go through 4 things before I do the questions. So then you touched on point 3 was products and services. So just expand on that.
So I think this is a really great exercise. So in your salon, look at all the products that you're dealing with, the brands that you're dealing with, list them again. Write them down, list them all, list all your services as well, and ask yourself, do they fit with your salon core values and objectives?
And also your customer base, surely.
Absolutely, your customer base as well, and that's such a good thing, because again, you might not think, or you might think you're going in one direction, but actually you're not really engaging with the right brands. Particularly,
so that the brand doesn't necessarily meet the ethos and the messaging of the salon.
So that could be something that you can consider to help, strengthen your identity.
Yeah.
As a business, you could provide additional services, think of all the services that you could, and take on other product lines, and maybe there's some additional trainings that you need to think about putting in place as well. But these are all things that can help, to build your business and make your business stand out even more than other competitors that are out there in your local town to you.
Yeah, it's you often think I've always worked with it, so I'll always stick with it. But actually, it might be that you need to add something now to meet the new demand or a new client trend, or your business has changed, don't they, over the years?
They have, and and businesses are going to change as well. When we go back as well, and I think there's a lot of the brands, the manufacturers that are out there that are very supportive as well, and helping you, even if you want to stay. It's not that you want to switch a brand, but there may be something that you can talk about to your account manager or something, and say, actually, I've thought about this. Is there any brands within your portfolio that I can add to, and speak to people, don't be afraid. Have a conversation. We love a chat, don't we?
Put the phone up and talk to people. It's not difficult. And your fourth point was around communication, and for me that's the critical bit. It
is, and it's you might have a strong identity, you might know what your brand values are, but are you communicating and telling people about it? Because that is the most important part. And starting from the ground roots, from your salon team, making sure that in the salon everybody's talking the same message. They're talking, everybody, this is whole saying, singing from the same hymn sheet. But that's so important. First of all, sharing that information with the clients that come in day to day into the salon, and then obviously think about how you're marketing the business and the ways of marketing your business. Obviously, digital is huge for us now. Back in my day when I was in the salon, we didn't have all of that. So it was about advertising, doing flyers, and connecting with the local, papers and things.
Yeah.
But, those things still exist, which is brilliant as well. And they are very important. But obviously, we've got social media, which we can change instantly and keep up to date on our marketing as well. Also be really true to your vision and goals, and true to you as well, because if you're not, you will get found out. It's really easy. You've got to be authentic. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. It's much more fun being the person that you are. You don't have to think about it. It just comes over really natural and sincere as well. And it's always really good to, as a business owner as well, to keep looking at these things on a more regular basis as well. Maybe, with a brand an M.O.T as such, I think it's always good to set time aside at least once a year to look at everything in a bit more detail. But obviously, we can analyse our communications quite quickly now, because there's lots of analytics, there's lots of insights that we can do through our social media, through our website as well, that we can look and see what's working, what's not working, and we can change things quite quickly as well. So it's always good to take a review on your business, because we're all busy, and obviously I've been a business owner in a salon, and you're very busy, but you do have to take a step back to look at your business, to move it forward, and to be more successful as well.
Consistency is critical, isn't it?
Oh gosh, consistency, consistency, communication is so key in the business, really.
No, it really is. I'm going to go to some of these questions. So Kelly Russell said, who helped to guide you on your journey, Jo? Who's inspired you and kind of guided you?
Well, a guide on my journey from being a hairdresser. I always looked at people. So I started off when I went to the Weller Studios, I always wanted to be an educator. Saw them, I was like, oh, good. And then the next step, when I was being an educator, and it was actually, I remember Jane when you used to do Spring Salon and Salon International.
Yeah,
I remember, and it was one of my first times, and I was actually when I was with Schwarzkopf and I was with them, you know, being exhibited with the brand.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, and I was watching all my, you know, my colleagues, and they were on the stage presenting, and I was like, oh, I want to be that. I want to do that. So it's my next thing. So I'm always looking at obviously people, but obviously what things I can do to push myself out of my comfort zone as well, and try different things. You know, and obviously one of those big out of my comfort zones was chair of the fellowship.
Yeah, that's a big role.
But yeah, I'm always looking at things that, you know, you can build on.
Person.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I didn't really know up to the time. But as you know, as this, you know, this series, excuse me, that you're doing at the moment, upskilling, looking at different ways to upskill and build on your skill set as a hairdresser. And I think our industry and as a career, there's so many different avenues that you can go down. And being a salon owner or a stylist in a salon is absolutely a great job to do as well. And if people just want to do that, that's brilliant. You know, people want to go off and do other things like photographic work or, you know, session work, that's brilliant as well. There's just so much that we can go into different journeys, and that's what's amazing. And actually what's great is you can dip in and out of all of them as well if you have the opportunity as well. So
somebody on here I know that we both know and love, Robert Resnick, says, love listening to you both. Thank you, Robert. Jo was inspiring to me when joining GHD, and her attention to detail was helpful, easy, and made sure we provided good, clear direction to our teams. I mean, it is that communication and being clear, open and honest, isn't it? So that everybody knows the messaging.
It is, and it's so important. Team is important. Hi, Robert, as well. I miss you. I've not spoken to him for such a long time.
I know.
But yeah, I remember when Robert joined the team, and he was looking after the whole Asia, you know, and he was based in Hong Kong. And, you know, it was brilliant. He obviously knew the brand because he was part of the, you know, he knew the journey of the brand. But, you know, having that communication and having that sort of like clear direction is so great, you know, and having somebody with you as part of the team who's on that journey and listens to you as well for guidance is brilliant.
Yeah, and it is that team cohesion, isn't it? Getting everybody together and making sure you're all pulling in the same direction. You only need one person who's not quite on the same journey as everybody else, and it just can upset the apple cart.
It was, and it was great because obviously, you know, when I was at doing that role and managing a global team, it was so important for me because I was kind of in the UK, as we used to call it, like we're the mothership, and I was the main person that used to literally spread all of those messages and all that information to the rest of the team. So if I knew that once I'd shared all that with the team, so in Hong Kong, Robert was sharing that information, and somebody else was in Australia, somebody was in LA, in the UK, and it was brilliant because I knew that, you know, the team were doing exactly, you know, what we agreed with as a team as well, which is brilliant.
So Emily Lyle, this will be the last question because we've run over slightly. It's been I can't believe we've already had half an hour. I feel like I'm having a chat with a friend. Emily Lyle, what one bit of advice would you give to a new business starting out, and any big no-nos when creating a logo?
Oh, right. So, well, let me think. So things to, when you're starting out, I would definitely look at all of those 4 different key areas that we've talked about, and just take some time, you know, it's to do that exercise together. Think about how think about, first of all, your business and your brand strategy. Make yourself a plan. That's the first thing to do. And once you've got your plan, then you can set yourself, you know, some goals and some targets. Don't try to do everything all at once. Set yourself maybe, you could do a 12-month, 2-year or 3-year plan. Break it down into small chunks and give yourself small things to achieve. So maybe set them into 3-month goals, and then you'll feel as though you're getting somewhere then, because otherwise it can be too overwhelming. So that would be my first point to do. And then once you've done that, you can move on to the other areas as well. What was the second question?
And any big no-nos when creating a logo?
Well, to be honest, when you're looking at creating and designing things, it's all very personable. And to you, I would say that, you know, if if you do know anybody, or you could reach out to a designer to just have a little bit of a conversation about and share with them your your brand identity, how you want, and maybe if you'd like to share some color palette as well, and then get them to do some mock up some ideas and think about it. But it's always very personable to that individual. So what I would like and what you would like, Jane, are very different potentially. So I wouldn't say there's any no-nos, but it depends on your design. If you want something that's really contemporary and modern, or you want something that's quite classic, it depends.
But I think it has to be something that can work across all mediums. That's what people need to think about. It has to work on the shop front, on the literature, on social media. So often less is more, don't you think?
Obviously, yes.
I mean,
not too much text or anything.
Not too much script. So
no. And something that people can identify that's not too cryptic as well.
It needs to be obvious. Yes, we did a research panel once with some headlines, and we thought we were being really clever, and it just didn't work. But you have to ask people to get. And actually, I would ask people before you decide, wouldn't you? Just about
to say that. So ask people when you've got 2 or 3 different designs from a designer, share them out with people that again that could give you honest feedback and go. I won't say, oh yeah, no, I like them all. Just say, oh, I like this one because this. And it's
you need people to be honest with you and not just say they don't want to hurt your feelings. So don't ask those people. Ask someone who's going to be brutally honest and say, no, I think this is rubbish.
Yeah, ask somebody that you sometimes are fearful because they will give you brutally honest.
Absolutely.
I'd always ask you, Jane.
Well, I'll be honest. So I'll ask you back. But there's no point, because people have got to live with that. And then you can't say to them in a year's time, well, I didn't really like it. Well, why didn't you tell me?
I know.
That's not fair. That's not being a true, honest friend, is it? You need to tell people as it is. Kai saying hello, lovely Kai one. Hi Kai, great to see you this morning.
Hi Kai.
So just before we are over time, but where can people contact you, just so that people want to reach out just for any kind of follow-up? Where can they get hold of you?
So they can go onto my website, which is jomartin.co.uk. If you want to message me anything, there's a tab there that you can message me and I'll get back to you. Or you can find me on Instagram at joe.consultancy and just DM me and fire away, and be happy to reach out to anyone. If you've got anybody's got any further questions, please, I'm here to help as well, and give you any guidance, because we all need a little bit of support now. And if anybody, because I've got people that I know that have been really helpful for me this last 12 months. So, and we are an industry for sharing, and, and we do, it's great. And I don't mind. I'll pick the phone up to people and talk to them, or email. I'm really more than happy to help anybody out.
Thank you so much. We'll actually pop your details, if that's all right, in the Facebook chat as well.
That's brilliant.
As well, I know we put it in the Zoom group. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Jane. It's been lovely to speak to you.
Really enjoyed it, and I hope everybody found it useful. And hopefully I'll be able to see you in person in not too long.
I hope so.
Yeah, all right. Take care, Jo. Lots of love.
Thanks, Jane. Bye.
Bye. Bye.